It's a real popular thing right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see it on the NBA in terms of their marketing and like leave a legacy. I mean, if you just turn on the TV, you're going to see something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to leave a legacy. I think people have a different idea of what that looks like, but I don't know. I would ask you, Will, like how far do you remember back in terms of your, your family, like your grandparents, great grandparents? My grandmother posed me this question, like, all right, my grandma's here. Do I remember beyond her?
Yeah.
And the idea of that being, she's like, well, there's only one legacy that's going to last forever. That's the legacy of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, ultimately, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
For my kids to get that legacy of faith, for their kids' to get the legacy of faith.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we really value the relationships God's given us. But the most important relationship and the one that we're going to have forever and the one that's going to never go away is the relationship that we have with Jesus. So that's ultimately where it was. That's where it came from.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
The logo, the 3 triangles, man. The relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is that? What does the logo symbolize?
It's really, it's kind of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. So the Trinity.
The modern day Trinity.
Yeah, the modern day. But we can't do life alone.
Right.
Is really, man, I don't know if you've tried to do that, but one of the enemy's greatest weapons is isolation, right? To get us on an island by ourselves and even in our minds.
Yeah.
Right? It's so easy to be isolated in our thoughts. And I'm like, well, man, Will, I need you to come preach the gospel to me because what I'm thinking right now isn't right.
Yeah.
It's not who I am. So would you preach the gospel to me?
Yeah.
And you remind me? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And so we need each other, man.
Yeah, we're people. No matter what anybody says about that, humans need human interaction, and we're designed that way for a reason.
Yeah,
that's big there. Yeah. Well, and when you think back, like you mentioned, looking back to, how many generations do you remember back? Why do you remember those people, those great people? I look back at my grandfather. And, I look at, who, by the way, owned an insurance agency.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, it didn't get passed down. But I guess fortunately, because then we probably wouldn't have connected, I look back at that and it wasn't about how great of a man he was. It was about what he did for others. He was the insurance guy who was, no matter how much money he made, which he did very well. And no matter how much money he made, he drove an Oldsmobile. But he wore a suit every day, and he never had a custom suit. He could have afforded it, but he just went to Brooks Brothers and drove his old Oldsmobile because he never wanted to pull up to a client's house and have them look at him and go, "Oh, okay, I see why my premiums are going up."
Yeah.
And I just think, like, when I think about that, like, he was always available for his clients, and this is back in a day, man, where everything was done on paper, like you were saying, Like we found those old insurance almanacs that he had and his old stationery and all that kind of stuff that was from that old company.
It's crazy.
Everything was done on paper. Can you imagine doing that business that way? Your father-in-law did it that way too.
Yeah, he jokes about that. Yeah.
Man, I can't imagine doing this with now we have so much technology and can automate so much of this stuff that we get to just focus on doing what we're good at and what we love.
Yeah.
And that's the people side of it. We get to do things like own a gym, or have a design company, have a basketball ministry, or work out, and get to be with people doing it,
be present for our families, right?
Yeah, but that legacy, a couple generations back, I look at my great, however many greats uncle, General Philip Sheridan. I don't remember him. I remember what he did for people,
Yeah.
And help liberate and win the Civil War, and that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now there are other opinions on that politically, but we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, no, I just think, we talk about legacy, and it's what have we done for other people? It's looking at our, what is our obituary going to say versus what's our resume say?